Peace and love, and welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, thank you for clicking this video, and if you are returning here, thank you for clicking this video. I am still trying to find a way to have what I consider to be the lighting that I like to be in, to feel most myself, to feel most rested, regulated, as well as still look kind of aesthetically pleasing. So I have an actual candle flame in front of me, and I have the red lights on, which do kind of do something funky to the screen, but I can't find the remote to change the colors. So this is what's happening. How are we doing? Are we doing okay? That's what I've been asking myself a lot these last couple of years, basically my whole life, and I just needed somewhere to sit down and process it and talk about it. And as much as I love journaling and writing out how I'm feeling, sometimes, even though I'm talking really slow right now, sometimes writing down what I feel, the stream of consciousness that begins to start flowing from me, is too fast for my hands to catch up with. And then I'm like, I just need to speak about this. I just need to speak about this. And this is less so like a video where I'm like, hey, here's some tips and tricks on what to do, and more so like, this is what I'm going through, and I know someone else is going through it, and my hopes is that in like just kind of talking about what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling at this time in my life, which I feel many other people are probably experiencing at this time in their life, will be something that we can all kind of consolidate together on and feel a little less alone and a little less crazy. The last, I don't know how many days, I have just been ingesting so much information about autism and being on the spectrum, and as much as I know that that doesn't define me, it definitely is a great tool to have in your tool bag as you move through this earthly experience. I don't want to keep reiterating in these videos where I'm like, what's happening, what's going on, by like saying all of my like little things that identify me. But a lot of personality testings and typologies have really assisted me in being able to move through life probably a lot easier than if I didn't have it. And I've said this many times before, but I feel like if I did not have these systems or have a bigger understanding of what was going on, like I would have been not here. Like I would be like losing my mind somewhere. And instead I'm just losing it here with more awareness of why I'm losing it. So for me, understanding my astrology placements, understanding my human design, understanding my MBTI, understanding my Enneagram, understanding that I'm on the spectrum, understanding the current transits that are happening to me, understanding that a lot of this I chose by making subconscious decisions and now learning how to make conscious ones. I understand all of these things play a role in what I'm experiencing right now, and it's a lot more intricate and interwoven than I could just say, all of this is happening because of this thing. It's like a whole myriad of things that kind of just culminate and whisk themselves together to create the recipe of what I'm currently experiencing right now. And it feels really good to be able to talk in the dark. It makes me think about when I first started this channel and I was sharing all my thoughts and I would be in the dark, and I like process so much better in the dark. I feel more myself in the dark. I basically feel like I'm in a little closet even though I'm in a room, and it's been really difficult. At least like this is kind of me just like speaking in stream of consciousness right now, just kind of like allowing myself to let it out. But for me, when I first started making videos about things that I was experiencing and putting them onto my YouTube channel, a lot of it was like me like just kind of talking to myself and therapizing myself. But the more that I realized that like other people could see me and then like witness and like understood that there's someone on the other side of this like receiving what I'm saying, like it did alter like my own perception of myself, and it altered how I wanted to say things and how I wanted to deliver things. And then I was losing a lot of the medicine that I was receiving from just being able to like sit down and just talk about how I'm feeling about something. And I really got into this like as the channel was growing, like, oh, I have to present this way. Oh, I need to share this kind of information. Oh, I should be like this. I should give the information like that. The video should look like this. The thumbnail should look like that. The writing should look like this. And like I started getting way too deep into like observing all these other channels and being like, okay, these channels grow and are successful in this way. This is what I need to do. And I really lost like a lot of the self that I was finding through YouTube was also where I was beginning to lose it, which is kind of interesting. Because when I did first make the channel, I remember being like, wow, I've never been able to just like talk about all this stuff to like people in my life, in my environment. It feels good to have somewhere to go to do it. And the whole point of like recording a video and talking like this is, yes, to like share it with other people. But sometimes there are things that I've recorded where like I did not share it, or I didn't feel like it needed to be shared or heard by anyone else, or like I watched it back and then realized like there was still so much that was not me in the video. Like I can see it, I can tell, because I know who I am when I'm alone. But whenever I get in an environment with other people, I can immediately just kind of like, I'm more conscious now to the subconscious programming, but like immediately contorting. And something that I was observant of today is like, especially when you have like different masks. Oh, it makes me think of the FKJ song. I wonder if that's what, anyway, that's a side note. Different Masks for Different Days is the name of an FKJ song. That's actually one of my favorites by him. And now it's making me think about the masking that I do, but like having a different mask for different people and then all of those people being in the same room is like, it shines a light on how much that I have like tried to be what I thought I needed to be for everyone around me instead of just being myself. So really, I've just been working on refinding who that is for me. Astrologically speaking, I have Neptune retrograde on my rising sign of Capricorn. It's conjunct my rising. The moons are in the same degree, in the same sign. So I have Uranus and Neptune retrograde sitting on top of my ascendant degree. And so sometimes even when I feel like I'm going to find myself, that Neptunian energy is like, but did you? You're still looking? Are you still like in the Uranian energy? Like, it's a lifelong process is what I'm coming to find. And I don't know. I felt like at 30 years old, I was gonna know a lot more about who I am. And I'm not saying that I don't like understand things that I am passionate about, because I do. I understand things that I care about. I understand like places I love to be. I like understand all those things, but those are things I like to do or things that make me happy or make me passionate. But like when I think about like my beingness and my nature and like who I am here and now, just being with myself, and then not feeling like the safety to be that in any other environment, it kind of confuses me about like what is really me if I'm not spending enough time like by myself talking to myself to get to know that. I'm never gonna know. So a lot of like just sitting in a room by yourself in the dark, even if you need to record a video to talk to yourself, is actually quite helpful. And it's been one of the main things that I've been doing for the last couple of years. And sometimes I would wonder like why I was still making like videos. Like I knew things I was sharing were helping people, but I still felt like this compulsive like need to share like everything I was processing. And really it's because I was really helping myself. Like my spirit guides are like, you need to continue to like shed these layers. So for me, finding myself has been about like unfinding myself essentially. It's been interesting to like think about how I would explain who I am, or like how other people would explain who I am, and to understand like everyone has a completely different version of who I am. And I'm in the cocoon stage now where I understand it's not about like, to me it doesn't feel like I'm moving into something new. It feels like I'm moving back into something I've always been, in the bottom of me, in the core of me, underneath all the layers. And it's sometimes really frustrating because I can feel like that I need to do that for my own mental health and my like sanity and my well-being, but I also know that like at some point the people around me who are used to a certain version of me are gonna like, even if they don't ask, I know they're gonna feel like, what's going on? Why are you acting like this now? Like, why are you acting is what I feel slash fear I'm going to hear. Like, why are you being this way? Why are you acting this way? And it won't be an act. It's like this is actually who I am. And to have to understand, like, I feel like I've lied to so many people in my life about who I am, or the things I like, or the way that I would typically respond to things. And there's been a lot that I've had to do to create this version of myself for people. So to deconstruct it is really interesting. Which honestly, Pluto being an Aquarius, sorry, the candlelight shining on my tooth is so funny. Pluto being in Aquarius now was still technically my first house. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I was really hoping that like whole signs was the way to go, and then I'd be like, hey, Pluto's just out of my first house, I'm done, it's over. But I can definitely feel and tell that that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. And to me, it's more like just this feeling of like being a fraud, imposter syndrome, like about myself, not even about like claiming, oh, I'm this, and then being like, am I really that? It's like, I am me. Am I really me? Do I know my responses? Do I know my reactions? Do I know how I'd really want to be? How I'd really want to look? Like how I want to hold my face? How I want to hold my body? I was always told that like, oh my gosh, you smile so much. Oh, well, you have such a beautiful smile. Like I heard that so much as a child that like, I was like, oh, I'm the person that does this. And so I just kept smiling. I just would keep smiling at everyone all the time. And that became like a thing for me. It's like, oh, people like it when I smile, so let me smile more. That became like plastered on my face. Also, a side note, I can't really breathe out of my nose at all. Like, well, I can't. It's like very minimal. It takes a lot of work to like breathe through my nose, so I breathe through my mouth. But a way to hide breathing through my mouth is to smile. So I'm breathing like this. So I like kind of keep my mouth open instead of just being like slack jawed. I smile. So I'm like, there's like, it's like a two-part thing. People enjoyed seeing me smile, but I also couldn't breathe. So I was just like, in reality, someone I really always strongly identified with. And like, this girl at my job made me so upset one day by telling me this. But I had like, when I worked at a movie theater, I had this pin of April from Parks and Rec, and it said, "That's gross. I love it." And I loved her character. When I watched that show, I was like, "That's me. That's me. That person. That's me. That's who I am." And I remember having that pin, and I was talking about it at work, and this girl told me, she was like, "You think you're April, but you're really Anne." And I never felt more insulted in my life. I was like, "What?" And she didn't repeat herself because she knew I heard what she said. And that has clearly stuck with me. And I remember processing and thinking about that and being like, what? And no way. And again, another sign to me of like putting on this, like, I'm always the smiley one. I'm always happy. I'm always, whatever. Like this thing that people like me to be. I'm always giving. I'm always there. I'm always helpful. Always give advice. I'll always give you my energy and my time and my youthfulness energy. That was something that I created for like my entire life. Even, I would say, in the last 2 years, it's been slowly dissipating, but it's like I have to fight really hard to not do it. Like, really difficult not to. And in reality, I would be like April. If I could breathe through my nose, which I plan to go to the doctor at some point to get that fixed, I would look like that, like, all the time. It feels so calming to my face to just process things like that. And I can't. I have to hold my mouth in a smile. And it tricks people, and it's honestly mind-blowing to me. But this persona I have cultivated over so long is slowly coming off. And not because, like, I'm like, okay, fine, it's time to take it off. Like, I'm getting to a point in my life with Saturn being I'm in my Saturn return, where it's like, oh, you can't do that anymore. You like can't do it anymore. If you continue to do it, you're gonna lose your mind. Like, kind of like the Joker. Like, the smile eventually, like what used to be so genuine, just like holding it over time becomes like very not okay. So yeah, that's what's happening to me right now. It's just like letting a lot of things go. And in letting those things go, I'm like trying to figure out what it is that I'm now grabbing onto. Like, if I'm doing monkey bars, I'm about to like grab that next one. I don't really know what that is, and I don't really know what it looks like, but I know that there's a lot of me that I found while I was on the road living in my car that was really just quiet, that was very like kind of like saw life in an artful lens, in a romantic lens, and I changed a lot of that for people around me, and from what I was told I should be doing, and how unrealistic it was. And I guess that Neptune energy on my rising also has a large role to play in this. But yeah, I don't like, I could honestly like probably ramble on about this for a very long time, but I didn't really want this to be super long. I really just kind of needed to get on here and talk about the fact that it's become very aware to me that I can't like pretend anymore. That I have to start like being myself. I have to start like showing my true beingness. Thank you, Spirit. They literally just like dropped the like message in, which is always so interesting because they drop it in so late into like when I'm starting to share my stream of consciousness that I'm sure I've lost like half the people at this point. Thank you, Spirit. The reason that it's like time, and not just for me, but for all of any of you, and you, the specific person watching this, if you are like me and you have had to create a persona to be around other people because you often trigger them, you often highlight things to them that they don't want to see about themselves, that they don't want to know, that they're not ready to know. You have to consistently contort yourself to make other people happy, to not upset them, to make them comfortable. It's always about them, 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 them. and their comfort and their well-being at the detriment of your own, to keep the status quo, to keep the peace, to keep the harmony. I don't like disharmony. I don't like fighting. And I've kind of had to learn to like be okay with a little bit of quaking within. And I think it's so difficult for me to feel that quaking within from that because I already feel it on my own. So to just add any more is like, oh no, I can't. I'm gonna like implode. If you're feeling like that, if you're wondering what the heck is going on with you, why things are so difficult or they're getting increasingly more difficult, Spirit is telling me it's because when you're trying to like live your life and you're trying to like pursue things you see within your mind's eye that your heart is calling you to do, those dreams that you have in your heart, the things you want to create, the kind of life you want to live, the things you want to experience here, the way you want to make your life art. If you're trying to do things like that, if you're trying to like look whimsically on your life and be like, wow, what a beautiful experience I'm having. Wow, I'm making my life. Wow, I'm experiencing this life. Wow, I'm here. I'm in my body on earth having this human experience and I'm creating it and it's beautiful. If you want that, the Spirit's telling me this. If you want that, then it can only happen when you are being yourself. It can only happen when you take off the mask. It can only happen when you allow yourself to be seen, so that those who like really want to be a part of your experience with you are open to your energy, to your frequency, to your wavelength. They'll be able to see you. And the best way I can explain this is like, I know I'm an alien. I know I'm from other realms. I know I've lived lifetimes on other galaxies, in other galaxies, on other star systems with the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Dimudians were here. I know those lifetimes. I know that I chose to come down here to have an earthly human experience. This is just my perspective, my experience. It's like knowing you're an alien and you come down here with a bunch of other starseeds and you put on your human mask and you're wearing it and you're trying to do the human thing and you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. And you're looking around at people holding this human mask and you're like, why am I not connecting with anyone? Why don't I feel like anyone here sees me? Why don't I feel like accepted? Why don't I feel comfortable here? Why does everything feel so sterile and foreign and like just I don't want to be here? That's because everyone who's looking at you, who is also like, they could be an alien. When they look at you, they don't see you. They're seeing the mask you're holding. But if you let that go and you just allow the vulnerability that it takes, because that's what I'm learning, is how vulnerable it is to be authentically you. When you do that, then that other person who's looking for someone can see you. And they're like, hey, oh my God. Yes, you chose to come down here too. Yeah, you're here for this human experience. You're here to help others awaken and ascend and like assist Gaia and healing from all this detrimental stuff that's happening to her. Oh my God, it's so good to see someone else here. Thank God. That's what it could feel like. That's what I'm getting pushed to do. That's what I'm feeling pushed to do. And I have been really fighting against that and like really trying to present a certain way that I think is right and what I'm supposed to be doing to make other people comfortable, to not trigger other people, to do whatever it is I feel I need to do to not cause disharmony. And I have to like not care anymore about that because of the disharmony that it's created within me and in my mental space and my heart space and my womb space. The disharmony, the imbalance I've been feeling and the questions I've been asking about why things in my life aren't growing and blooming and flowering like I know they should be and could be. I'm getting the answers very clearly handed to me that it's not anything outside of me. It is me. I am the thing that needs to change. And I can't blame it on anything else. I can't blame it on anyone else. All I can do is accept it and say, yeah, I have been doing that. I've been doing that for 30 years. Probably not 30 years. I probably started doing it when I was like 4 or 5. I've been doing it for a long time. A very long time. And I know it doesn't happen immediately, and I'm okay with that. but I also know that I have to start. And this is me starting by like deciding, okay, yeah, the video is dark. Yes, I lit a candle. Yes, I'm recording in a way that I don't think is necessarily going to be at the attention span of many people or get the kind of views that I think I need to get, blah, blah, blah. Like all those like 3D things that have like seeped into my natural 5D form, and I'm like taking the tentacles off. I'm ripping it off of me and reclaiming myself and understanding the multidimensionality of myself and a lot of those that are around me. And we're all like, I feel like I'm going through another wave of awakening, essentially. Like I had an awakening in 2017, and I felt like I had another one in 2020, kind of. Like I was a little bit more like, oh yeah, I expected this. I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. But I remember like, yeah, this is expected, but it wasn't, I didn't have my own personal, like, oh snap, the things in my personal life until very recently. I had already been kind of aware of the things outside of me, and now it's about being aware of the things within me. And that's what's been happening to me. And most likely, if you clicked this, it's been happening to you. And a lot of us are being asked to, like, as we've removed the veils and we can very clearly see the 3D realm that we're in and know that we are 5D beings moving into 5D frequency here on Gaia, on planet Earth, then it also takes the within, the true being at our cores, to come out so that we can be authentic, genuine, and connect with other people in an authentic, genuine way. And that's not going to look like how it's going to look for anyone else because it's unique to you. Your uniqueness will define how you connect with others. And you won't connect with those you really want to connect with unless you're being who you really are. So I wouldn't want to be connecting with people in a way where I'm like, hi, that's not my energy field at all. It's just not. And that's something I was like seeing and getting programmed like, this is how you should be. This is how it'll work. If I would have like really majorly connected with like thousands of people in that way, I would get so drained and it wouldn't feel real. It would feel like a burden. I would feel stressed and having to uphold another mask. And if I'm just being myself, just being me, and then people connect with me, then it's just a nice, beautiful addition of star sisters and brothers into my collective family that we can continue to grow together here on Gaia. So I don't want this video to be super long. It doesn't need to be, and I'm sure I'll have much more to say as I continue to do these. It does feel good to kind of come back to this space and place in the dark with a candle. It's honestly like the underworld makes so much more sense to me. I got goosebumps as I said that. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. And outside of like all this with me, my external environment has been reflecting that to me. And I know I have to do something. I know something has to change because, like, y'all, I'm not kidding when I say, like, I can't rub two pennies together right now. I know that will be changing, but, like, it's a very humbling feeling to not have, like, any money, to not have a vehicle, to not have a car, to not really be able to afford food. Like, I have become so dependent on my outer environment because I was trying to build a life and an authentic version of me. And I trust that if I'm moving back into my own suit of self and stop trying to wear the costumes of other people, then Spirit will be able to assist me and gift me with what I need. But my spirit guides are not going to be like up in the clouds, up in the ethers, looking down and being like, I'm holding my Palo Santo, wow, look at her. She's not acting like herself at all. She's being a completely different person. She's being really fake and just like doing what she thinks she needs to be doing. Let's give her all of the blessings and signs and synchronicities and lots of things that she needs to feel comfortable because that's going to help her. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think that's what they're thinking. I honestly feel like my spirit guides are looking down on me like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, that's kind of how my spirit guides talk to me. So They've been feeling like that with me lately. It's just like, we're not giving you anything you're asking for because you're not the one asking for it. We need to know the real you is asking for what you really want. And you're not asking for what you really want because you're asking from a version of yourself that doesn't even exist. So, yeah. This little person here was like, oh my God. I mean, with the help of the planets, I started looking around like, oh my God, what is my life? Why is this happening? Oh, it's because of me. It's because of me. So my spirit guides are like, oh, she's paying attention. She's realizing. I've been getting lots of ear ringing. Like, especially when I'm like coming to certain revelations. They're like, yes, yes, yes. They're doing as much as they can. That's what's happening right now. And it's most likely happening to you too. So allow those veils to be removed. Allow the mask to come down. Allow it, the different masks for those different days, to no longer exist. And it's like basically a challenge, really, to do it. And it's vulnerable, and it's going to require some intimacy with yourself and with your life. But it's worth it. Oh my gosh, is it worth it? I could not live 30 more years like this. I would lose it. I would legitimately lose my mind. So here's to you and I coming back to self. Whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. And it's gonna take time, or maybe it'll happen instantly, and that'll be beautiful too. I know that this is the first step in that for me. So whatever that first step is for you, please take it. We need you. We don't need a bunch of, we don't need that. We don't need that. We need you. I need me. So here I am for me. Give yourself a hug. You're doing okay. We all signed up for this, and we got it. Until next time, as always, I'm sending you peace, my star brothers and sisters, earth sisters and earth brothers, and I'm sending you love from the depths of my heart, emanating out into the cosmos.